Have you ever walked into a room and instantly felt something was off, even before anyone spoke? You couldn't explain it. Nothing obvious happened, but your body already knew. Or maybe you notice how you become a slightly different person depending on who you're talking to, adjusting your tone, your energy, even your personality without thinking about it, like flipping through different versions of yourself just to keep things smooth. Most people assume that's normal. It isn't. That's what often happens when you grow up with a narcissistic parent. See, most children grow up learning to trust their feelings. You learned to question yours. Most people remember childhood as a time of discovery. For you, it felt more like training camp, a place where survival depended on reading situations correctly. And now, as an adult, you walk through life carrying abilities that sometimes make you feel different, almost like you're playing a completely different game than everyone else. Today, we're going to talk about 4 traits you may have developed without realizing it. Traits that often feel like burdens, even curses, but can become powerful advantages once you understand them. By the end of this, you may finally understand yourself in a way you never have before. Number 1. The mind reader. Imagine being 5 years old and walking into the kitchen, instantly knowing whether today was going to be safe or stressful. Nobody said anything yet, but you knew. Maybe it was the way dishes were placed on the counter. Maybe the silence felt heavier than usual. Maybe it was the tension in someone's shoulders. You became a detective without choosing to, because in your home, missing emotional signals could mean criticism, anger, or being blamed for something you didn't even understand. So your brain adapted. You learned to read micro-expressions, tone shifts, breathing patterns, pauses in conversation, details most people never notice. You don't just hear words, you read energy. The advantage? You can sense dishonesty quickly. You recognize manipulation early. You notice emotional shifts before conflict even begins. The difficulty, your nervous system rarely turns off. Your mind keeps scanning for danger even when you are safe. It's like living with a smoke alarm that reacts to harmless steam as if it were fire. While others relax at a gathering, you're subconsciously mapping emotions in the room. Who's uncomfortable, who's pretending, who might create tension later. You aren't born overthinking. You were trained to anticipate. And here's the truth. People who grew up being deceived emotionally often develop extraordinary intuition. You learned patterns before you even understood language. That awareness isn't weakness, it's survival intelligence. Number 2, the shapeshifter. Let me ask you something uncomfortable. Who are you when nobody's watching? If that question makes you pause, you already understand this trait. Children of narcissistic parents often become experts at adaptation, not because they are fake, but because authenticity once felt unsafe. You learned early which version of yourself created peace. Be quiet, be agreeable, be impressive, be invisible, whatever prevented conflict. Over time, you became incredibly skilled at adjusting yourself to match environments. At school, maybe you were funny. With friends, you were supportive. At home, you disappeared emotionally. You learned to switch roles effortlessly. And eventually, you became so good at adapting that even you weren't sure which version was truly yours. People say they know you, but they often only know the version designed to make them comfortable. The gift here is powerful. You can connect with almost anyone. You navigate social spaces easily. You understand perspectives quickly. But the cost is exhaustion, because somewhere inside, a quiet question remains. Would anyone like me if I stopped performing? Here's what matters. The real you was never the problem. You were simply taught that your natural self was either too much or not enough. The right people will not require a performance. They will recognize you when you finally stop adjusting. Number 3, the always-on machine. When was the last time you truly rested? Without guilt. Not distraction, not scrolling, real rest. Many children raised in emotionally unstable homes grow into adults who cannot stop pushing themselves. Because growing up, achievement felt tied to safety. Mistakes brought criticism. Rest looked like laziness. Needing help felt dangerous. So you learned to work harder than everyone else. You became dependable under pressure, calm in chaos, productive even when exhausted. People admire this about you. They call you strong, disciplined, resilient. But often the truth is simpler. You don't know how to stop. Your nervous system learned that slowing down meant vulnerability. The advantage, you endure challenges that overwhelm others. Stress doesn't shock you. You've lived inside it before. The cost, joy becomes difficult. Relaxation feels unfamiliar. You keep chasing the next goal because stillness feels uncomfortable. But listen carefully. You do not have to earn your worth through exhaustion. Rest is not failure. Rest is recovery. You survived by running. Now you're allowed to learn how to live without proving anything. 4. The emotional vault. This may be the heaviest trait of all. If you grew up with a narcissistic parent, there's a strong chance your emotions were dismissed or rewritten. When you were sad, you were told you were dramatic. When you were angry, you were disrespectful. When you were excited, you were told to calm down. So you learned to lock feelings away. You became emotionally controlled, composed, steady, reliable. People now see you as calm during crises, the person others lean on when things fall apart. But internally, emotions often feel distant, muted, sealed behind invisible walls. You may question your reactions, doubt your feelings, expect good moments to disappear. Because love once came with conditions, safety felt temporary. So you built an emotional vault to survive. Here's the truth you may need to hear. Your emotions were never the problem. They were responses to an environment that could not hold them safely. You are allowed to feel deeply. You are allowed to be messy. You are allowed to experience joy without waiting for punishment afterward. Feeling does not make you weak. It makes you human again. The bigger truth. These 4 traits, the mind reader, the shapeshifter, the always-on machine, and the emotional vault, were not choices. They were survival strategies. And survival strategies are powerful. They can either imprison you or become tools you consciously control. You are not broken. You are someone who adapted to something difficult and came out carrying abilities most people never develop. You notice what others miss. You adapt where others freeze. You endure what others avoid. You stay steady when everything collapses. That is not damage. That is strength shaped by experience. And now, for the first time, you get to choose how to use it. You survived. Now you get to live.